You are on.
Okay, we are back from executive session. Just for the record, we did extend 5 minutes. So we were gone for a total of 20 minutes. No action was taken in executive session. Mr. Treasurer.
I was just stopping by regarding the letter. You guys
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't know if you wanted it.
Yeah, sure. Let's.
I wanted to read it.
Yeah.
I heard you this morning.
That.
No.
I was like, he must be in the background. He doesn't want to say.
I was
Did you hear that?
upstairs gathered. So I don't have, I think it's a good idea to send a letter. I don't think it's going to hurt anything. I mean, what we're hearing in our deal is that it's overwhelmingly they're wanting to get rid of things. I think we're kind of on the last ditch effort, but I think it's at least we can say we've done something. And I think, one of the things, and I mean, grammatically, I mean, I could change it, this is to does or whatever, but I think the message is a fair message. And, we don't know what the damage is going to be if this happens, but I think it's definitely something that, is going to change the landscape out there for sure. I mean, if there's no penalties or interest. And there's a lot of things too that's out there. There's another bill about deferral. No, it's Potts, Mr. Potts, but Zach, thank you. He had talked about it, but there, if your revenues are down 20%, then doing a deferral of some sort or having a payment plan. Well, who's going to audit all of these things, and who's going to? I mean, what are we talking? And then I know the Treasurers Association. That's a big thing. We don't want to be the. I mean, are these the financial statements they're using to pay their income taxes, or the financial statements they're using for this? I mean, we don't really want to be in that role. So we don't like that. There's a lot of tools out there. We already have payment plans for delinquent taxes. There is the state deferral already also out there. So I'm in agreement with the letter. I appreciate you asking and wanting my thoughts. I don't have a problem with it. I think this is something that we're chasing, but I think it's important to.
Yeah. And I looked at it and thought, boy, it could be way better rewritten, but I don't want to stomp on that man's feet.
Right.
So I'm fine to sign his.
Yeah.
Not perfectly.
Yeah. And I asked Vicky, who's the treasurer of Skamania County as well.
You can do some editing. I mean, Bob did say,
His letter.
need to edit.
Yeah.
If you would like to do your own letter and this board could sign it.
I'm willing to do whatever the board wants to do. I just wanted his approval before he signed it.
No, I'm for it, and I don't think it's going to hurt. I mean, I think that's the message, and I think we're all carrying the same bucket. I think that's where we're at. I do think we're behind the 8 ball on this one, though, because I don't think it's us. I just think people don't. It's a great idea on the surface, but I think it's really not going to be a good idea. And it's small districts. I mean, small fire districts. You look at these small districts like Klickitat would be one of them I would kind of pencil out, or Glenwood, where they're just kind of rolling along.
Wakakis
would be another one. That would be another perfect one. Right. And so if you prolong their cash flow one way or the other, and they don't have money to fuel their trucks, what's our next approach to that? And that's where I get to with, there are other.
Oh, I know what the next approach is.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Coming to you guys. Yeah. So
it's that chair right there next to
two of them, them and a buddy.
So aren't we on a time schedule here? Because this thing's moving forward.
Well,
Is the easiest thing just to sign it?
That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, we can send it.
Yeah.
If she's got it
Well, fix
typed
the
up and ready,
grammatical
I would
error.
just sign the sucker.
Okay, but that letter is in the form of we, the county commissioners from both. That does not have any signature spot for them.
Right.
I could reach out to.
Why don't you reach out to their clerk? And because I'm sure their clerk is having the same
Challenge.
I'm just thinking if we're signing this thing, we need to sign it today and not next week.
Yeah.
In whatever way.
Well, and I think we
sign
should
today.
commit also is that when this is, we need to look on the schedule, because I know there was an amendment to it, 1332. There was some stuff done. I don't
And I
know
haven't
that it
tracked
made it
that
worse
one
or
in the
better.
last. Yes, I haven't tracked that one in the last couple of days.
And just to see that the next, where it's at, that we sign in oppose, as Zach told us this morning, we need to kind of quit kind of pussyfooting around.
Right.
And just, if we're opposed, we're opposed.
Right.
And we need to say that to give cover. I have communicated with our legislators directly personally. And you know.
No, I think it's good. And like I said, I've sent messages off to the junior districts of
Yeah.
the Klickitat County. I sent it to all of them. I've heard back from nobody, but I really do think the junior districts, there's got to be a Washington State Fire District Association, I would think, and I would want them to be out there, and probably ESD would be other ones to, because we really want it's more of the collections, it's the tool. And if they want to come up with a different tool, that's fine. We need to come up with a different tool. But I think eliminating penalties and interest is, it's not going to help us at all.
Okay.
So that's all. I just wanted to pop in. Anything else?
Thank you. See you later. See you
Perfect. Yes, thank you.
Friday? Do we have Friday?
Friday.
Friday.
Yep, Friday. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, sir.
Like it's all the time.
Yeah, I don't think removing penalties of interest is gonna help the regular Joe citizen much either, but
Mr. Chairman, for board pending.
Yes.
Now that we just passed the social media policy, I haven't posted on social media since the election and since we talked about it. We just passed that. I'm thinking later today, I'm gonna post something about our committees, letting people know that we have until the 12th to sign up for these committees. One of them that I noticed that nobody has filled out for, I know one person's planning to, is the Land and Natural Resources Committee. All of those positions are currently open. And it's a very open board. There's no districts, there's no serving this. It says you will be from a broad range of the culture and history and economic and all that.
what was that board used for originally and why did it stop getting used?
That would be, we used it for a bunch of different stuff. The energy overlay zone, it was used for in the creation. When I came on board, we gave updates to them about the WIRA processes and watershed management. And they would be kind of the go-between between the commissioners and those other groups. And they would give direction or recommendations to the board. That's kind of where I initially thought that any discussion on solar would really take place. And then with regards to, I don't know, pump storage, wind turbines, batteries, that kind of stuff. And a lot, I think if we look forward, land and natural resources, with all of the green energy push that's coming from the federal and state government, we're going to have to start looking at that. How do we balance those out between ag lands and green energy?
Yeah, we certainly want folks to sign up for that.
I just don't think most people understand what it is. They don't know what it is, so they're not signing up for what it is. I've reached out to one person on that, but not knowing that we're actually going to use that word, but just, hey, you might as well throw your name there. But I don't think there's an explanation there, so people can't even understand why to apply to that. But again, I don't think that many people fully understand that this is available. We may have a really bad turnout the first time, and it takes a second and the third time to get a turnout. It may be no turnout ever, and it was a waste of effort. And it turns into a bunch of hot air. Yeah, I really want to be involved. Not. You could be right on that. Time will tell.
I hope not. I hope folks step up, but just we have a lot of boards and a lot of seats and a lot of.
It's time.
It's all for volunteers.
All for volunteers.
All for volunteers, and go be on a committee that everybody is mad at you and screams at you.
Well, I think the main thing is I don't think a lot of people, number one, understand what a certain board does. They don't understand how much time is involved. They think, oh, this is a weekly, 5 hours a week. I don't have time for that. If there was more education done, it's kind of like I was saying with the senior services board. You're saying how many people get the newsletter don't get the newsletter. I
Right.
can count on one hand the number of people I've talked to that even knew there was a newsletter. That's bad education. That doesn't fall on them for not being signed up. That falls on us for not educating them to sign up. And I think the same thing's happening with the boards, but just me.
Any other
That was mine.
board pending? I'll just so folks know, I do have a meeting with the Cease Solar folks tomorrow afternoon. I asked for the meeting last week. Tomorrow, I will report back on how that went. Thursday during our afternoon workshop, as far as I'm gonna.
Perfect.
So,
And me and Commissioner Anderson will not be at this solar tour because we both have a workshop for Public Works Crab Board. So
yes.
And Thursday, I'm gonna meet with the president of STS and see what new I can find out there for.
Good. That will be good
you doing that Thursday
information.
morning, or what are you doing now?
Early Thursday morning before I come up here, I'm gonna do the crab board in here before our 1 o'clock, trying to get everything done. Have you signed into any of the NACO meetings? I sat in on 3 of those presentations, two of them yesterday. Pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah.
There was one today at noon, the energy one that I wanted to do.
I was gonna say there was a couple today I wanted to do. But there's a couple tomorrow and
Yeah, and then I think on
most of the ones
Thursday
I'm
there's,
interested start dragging into next week even.
yeah, next week. And the third, actually, there's a bunch of things that I'm really set for it, or the third week.
Yeah.
Which is it's just a really different format than I
I
hope.
say it's gonna be drug out over a month and I'm reading through it, I'm like, yeah, no.
No.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah,
I wish there was a way to bookmark it, but
yeah.
not about putting them on the calendar. I'm like, yeah.
But it's interesting to see amongst all the counties in the nation, the discrepancy when it comes to agriculture and all this and how they're viewing agriculture. You really get to see two sides of the same
Mhm.
spectrum. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I used to serve on the Energy and Environment Land Use, EELU, for several years. I was on the NACO committee for that. And it was mostly because, we have, energy and environment land use in Klickitat County, but it was more when we were looking as a state, we were like, well, that's a really important committee and nobody, everybody wants to be on, or was at the time was public lands was kind of like the big hot ticket thing to go on, where it was the Western states were, really having conversations with Eastern states, counties about everything in the West is already owned. And you folks don't seem to understand that, which was really interesting. I would go sit on there, but I would go, I'd go do my committee work, but then I would go sit in these other committees just to watch them as far as what they were doing, the healthcare or even, the large urban counties. Again, we're certainly not a large urban county, but it's not a bad idea to just sit in there
I
to
thought
see,
about that one, yeah.
just see what they're talking about, because their perspectives, like in Washington, it's really only King, I think Snohomish and Pierce have seats on that, maybe Whatcom, that they participate. But when you start seeing across the whole country, it's just really interesting to see that percentage or that perspective. And then the counterpart is RAC, which is Rural Action Committee. And it's kind of the revert. In fact, it was kind of cool. They were doing it. I don't think they've done it for a couple of years. They were doing a joint committee between those two committees because it was like, really, these people need to be these are the people that need to be talking to each other. And so they had sponsored that, which was really, I guess it was longer ago than that, because I went to a meeting where they had that, and it was very interesting to watch the interactions and trying to get people to not be in their camps, where it's like these folks were over here, these folks were over here, and they just talked to each other, and they really got them to start talking to each other. But yeah. Okay, anything else on pending before we adjourn for the day? Nope, I'm ready for a motion then.
So moved to adjourn.
I'll say,
We have a motion and a second to adjourn our regular meeting until 1:00, on Thursday. All those in favor, say aye.
I
Aye, motion passed.